Welcome to Spirit Guide Chat. I'm Jake, and I appreciate you coming in and for this weekly tarot reading. I have questions in regards to what's going on in current events, and if you like this video or any of my videos, feel free to like, subscribe. Please subscribe. I'd be happy to expand my reach. And if you have any questions for me in future videos, feel free to ask them. No personal questions, just questions on what's going on. Okay, so a little recap from the last video. Last video I mentioned about it was either last video or the video before that. I mentioned about Greenland, and I was very generic, and I still feel that there will be some type of force. He says he's not going to use force in regards to like military action, but or like land invasions or whatnot. But I feel like there's going to be some type of force. Typical of Trump, he'll say one thing and then all of a sudden the next day he's back on it again. Just like we thought Greenland was over with earlier this year or last year, and then we're back on it again. So and now we're off. So we'll get to that question, but I want to first talk about, because as of today's video, we had Jack Smith's testimony. And I just want to get the spirit I want to ask in regards to the reception from Congress in regards to Jack Smith's testimony, in a general consensus on a reaction on Jack Smith's testimony. And I just want to say, stop here for a second, because there was an interesting speech that there's a lot of speeches. One thing I don't appreciate, and I'm sure I'm not many people feel this way, is like, can we just ask the questions without having to sit through his speech? I'm like, I want to hear answers. I want to hear Jack Smith, not a big speech. But, however, there was one that stood out with Eric Swalwell, who's running for governor, and I should take. We have time. I want to take a look at the California governor's race. I want to ask specifically about Eric Swalwell, because I haven't asked about that in a while, and this is the year that the California governor's election is happening. And he was the last one major candidate to come forward and file last year, so before the deadline. But we're going to ask, let's go back, Jake, let's reel it back in. Jack Smith's testimony, what's the reaction and reception in general consensus of Congress? Spirit, can we take a look at what that is? Oh, Eric Swalwell. I didn't even mention about the. Wow. We're about to have the storm, like many of you are, and my mind's been all over the place. I was running around going to. Typically, I do grocery shopping Fridays, and I decided to go early, and just to beat the crowds and whatnot. Not really the weather, but more so the crowds. But anyways, and so my mind's all over the place. Eric Swalwell did a speech about how, and pointed out the thing that's been said many times, that the Republicans, they put on a show for Trump, their orange leader, about what their feelings are in front of the cameras, but there's another set of feelings behind the cameras, which is very well known, and they're not being honest and upfront about it. But let's take the general consensus. So we have the Nine of Cups. This is offering information. This is Jack Smith offering information. The cup. The 5 is being crossed by the 5 of Cups. And I think they're some of the consensus is they're accepting what Jack Smith has said. they're accepting the evidence, even though they may not say it in front of cameras if they're Republicans, but they're accepting what it is. And we have in the past, we're talking about what Trump did. This is the whole hearing was about. The foundation, this is the start of a new beginning. This is the start of, I think people are going to start changing in regards to their views about Trump. And this, we're talking about Congress overall, but even we can even expand it even to other voters out there. And this is also crowning the reading, despite what it seemed like on there. This is also a new start of Republicans and Democrats starting to work together, which we kind of start seeing a little bit, but I think this is going to go further as time goes on, this year goes on especially. And there's a lot of soul searching going on. The Hermit card about uh, and because I'm saying Republicans a lot because Republicans have the majority in both houses, and I think there is going to, and plus this is election year, so there's going to be a lot of soul searching on the direction that they're going and whether they should continue to have support um, for the orange one. And here we come. There's a tower moment coming. It's coming. It's coming. There's going to be, and I'm doing a follow-up question and seeing if it's Jack Smith or it could be the Epstein files, other things that are going on. There is behind the scene a lot of teamwork, collaboration going on. We could be talking about, the Two of Cups here, the Republicans or Democrats, or it could be something else. It could be even within the administration. And there's a surprise. There's a surprise. They're hoping to hear a surprise information from Jack Smith as we continue on. And there is the card is a pretty positive card. This is a piece of very hard work and diligence of Jack Smith's evidence gathering and showing up in this this testimony. And the Queen of Swords is bringing truth, and then we're having justice coming in. So that's what the general consensus is, that this is going to be a start of bipartisanship over time. It's not something that's going to happen tomorrow, but it's the beginning, some soul searching, and there is going to be some kind of surprise that's going to be a tower moment. And let's take a look at this. Like I said, what I want to follow up is in regards to, is there going to be more information, more surprises from Jack Smith? There really wasn't surprises, it's just generalizations on process, why he, and reasons why he did stuff. And like I said, there was many speeches. God. I just want to hear questions. I want to hear testimony. That's why you brought Jack Smith here, not your lips flap. A lot of politicians, they just want to hear themselves speak for a lot, and that's doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. But let's see if there, Spirit, is there going to be more information being released by Jack Smith? Is there going to be more information like surprises or of information or even a little detail that may lead into something bigger? Okay, so we have the devil here. What's being crossed by is the Seven of Cups. So there is, the dark side of the personal values of information that he has, the greed of Trump, I'm sure it's showing. Um, in the past, is that he was digging up things, financial things. And here we go again, the foundation. I think he has information about the money part of it, selling secrets, something like that, I feel. And he was very fearless in getting this information because he knew this was going to lead to uh, something new. And there is going to be something that's going to come up with the Ace of Cups information. Again, here we go with the Five of Pentacles. There is some collaboration in the background. There's been talking, again, with the Queen of Swords coming up from the outside, the truth. And bringing unity. The hope is to bring some unity. I think that's what Jack Smith wanting. He wants because he emphasized that he's apolitical, not taking one side or the other. He really wants more unity in the country. And that's a big yes with the Ace of Wands. This is a new, again, showing a new beginning of some sorts. And again, ten of Pentacles. It's something to do with the money. He has information about um, money transactions that happen. But of course, like he said, he can't release everything. But there is going to be something that he releases dealing with the money, or he discusses. So write that down. Money. Okay, so let's look at Greenland again. I'm going to break it down because I was very generic for the lack of time when I did ask Spirit. So, Spirit, let's first ask, I want to first ask if Trump will switch back and want to use force towards Greenland. Will Trump want to use force, or will he use force? Not want, will he use force? Difference in the question. So right now we have the comfort and calm with the Queen of Cups. What's being crossed by it, the Knight of Cups here. So there's a lot of disappointment in this calm right now. Trump is very disappointed. He wanted to do this. In the past we have the Six of Cups, the nostalgic of, he knows he's losing his touch, and he loved when he did, and he's kind of reminiscing about that. He is working with other people with the Lover's card in regards to Greenland, and he's looking for other ways to get what he wants, which is Greenland. He's been not surprising with the Seven of Wands. Very much, he's been getting challenged from the other European allies, and he's been trying to fight them off. We have the King of Wands. There's been somebody that's been standing up, and I want to say this is this could be Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, leading the way in this new allyship with Europe, and really sticking into him when he was in Davos, Switzerland recently. So he's going to really stand up further. He's going to rise up among as the alternate to the United States. Um, from the outside influence, he wants the money. The Nine of Pentacles of the minerals and whatnot. And then there is going to be soul searching with the Hermit card and the hopes and fears. And what we get is the King of Cups. I think because he's emotionally going all over the place. I think he is going to express that he is going to use force. I still do. It doesn't mean necessary land invasion, doesn't necessarily mean missiles or something like that. I think he is going to show force. So let's start with one follow-up to kind of narrow down to see if it's maybe this. Spirit, is it naval blockades of some sort that he is going to be doing in Greenland in the waters? Is it some kind of naval blockade to show force in regards to Greenland? Will Trump do some type of naval maneuver or naval blockade to show force? So there is a collaboration going on with the Three of Cups. I think there's three countries in European, and I feel like these are European allies that are working together. It could be Denmark, of course. It could be France and Canada. I think it's definitely Canada and Denmark. The third one could be I'm not for sure. It could be France. And this is being crossed by the Ace of Wands. I think there is. They're really weighed down by this. I think they've been talking amongst themselves. I think that it's very much so they've expressed this because it's very. I mean, you have to think about it. We've been allies for almost 100 years. like where we are today. And over 80 years, and it's really hard to just think about it. If you had a relationship for 80 years, you would be heartbroken if someone's acting suddenly different and not your friend anymore, not your partner. So this is weighing them down. We have in the past, uh, we don't usually do upside down, but if it comes in the deck that's upside down, I'm just going to keep it because that's what spirit wants. In the past, there was a very much a struggle in regards to doing this blockade, but he's thinking in a new perspective, the hangman, because he already said that it's not working in regards to what he was threatening about the invasion. Again, he's working with somebody else. It probably is Russia, if I had to guess, in regards to this plan, because this a lot of these things that's going on in regards to Greenland is very much out of Putin's playbook. Um, but there is somebody coming up in the Queen of Cups, somebody coming up trying to convince him to calm him down. This could be Susie Wiles. It's a female. It's probably Susie Wiles that stepping in and trying to calm him down, or stepping away from doing this. But he is working on a plan for this, with the Eight of Pentacles. And he really wants to manifest this with the Page of Pentacles. But the truth of the matter is, the hope and fear is that there's going to be some kind of justice coming on, where there's going to be some kind of a rebalance. And it's a maybe, but there's also, he might be leaving behind this idea with Greenland. Even though he wants to use force, and I said that he wants to use force, and he's going to say that, he might be transitioning and moving on to Cuba or Iran or somebody like that. Not that that's any better in regard, but I think he knows he's hitting a wall in regards to where's that street? Greenland. So he might use force when it comes to naval things like blockades or preventing ships from leaving Greenland. But the European allies, so want to take a look at this border peace that Trump has proposed, where he would be the lifetime member and chairman of this new board. He's working with Middle Eastern countries mainly. There are some other countries that are participating. Some of the allies have been hesitant. This is mainly a money making scheme in Gaza, and he's saying that this is going to be an alternative to the UN and yada yada. So let's take a look ahead about what's going to happen with the Board of Peace Spirit. What's going to happen? So many cards. Board of Peace. Okay, so we have the king. We start out with the King of Swords. They want to show some authority when it comes to rebuilding Gaza. This is being crossed by the Page of Wands. There's a very much a lack of direction, which is pretty much, out of Trump's playbook. He spews an idea out, haphazardly implements it, executes it. And this is nothing different, this Board of Peace, to some of his other plans that he has. In the past, he enjoys the public recognition, which is still playing out today. There's this community, and there is a community, not with our typical allies that this is being formed. But this is a new phase, a reckoning that's happening with this Board of Peace. It is definitely going to be a change in the world order as it was prior to this. So this is an alert that there are going to be shifts in people partnering together, countries partnering on together. And there's going to be a lot of Five of Cups. There's going to be a lot of regret and just basically mourning over the old way of how things were being done and the stability. That's why we're experiencing, there's so much change going on right now. And that's part of that we all are in some way are mourning how things used to be more stable. So, and again, it's not just, I can say this as a general thing for all of us, but in regards to the board of peace, there's a lot of negative thoughts around, um, in regards to this because there's a lack of direction. Like I said, there's a lot of mourning from the old way of doing things, and there is going to be a lot of conflicts coming out from this board of peace. They're not going to work well together. But what's the hope? To make more money. That's what his whole plan has been, is to try to make more money the way they are. But this is going to be a heavy burden to do. It's probably not going to work. Yeah, see, here we go. The Seven of Swords. There's a lot of shadiness going on, fighting off other people with the Seven of Wands. I don't know. It's not going to be a pretty picture this board. Uh, it's 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 will probably make money, but in regards to bringing peace, no, no, no. All right. I want to jump to Minnesota. Let's see where I'm at on my time. Minnesota, and then we'll do Eric Swalwell, do Trump Talbot, and then general message. Okay. So let's look to see if Trump will use the military slash National Guard in Minnesota. Said he's not going to use the Insurrection Act, but then he put Trump's troops on alert in Fort Bragg, Texas. So let's take a look if he's actually going to use them in Minnesota. Okay, so there's a tower moment happening here, folks. So there's some kind of sudden change, upheaval that's going to happen. And with the high priestess on the side, there's a hidden agenda going on in regards to this. There was more of some in the past. We had the star card. There was some hope in things calming down with this because it has been pretty calm compared to where things were before. There's going to be some kind of heartbreak and suffering with the Three of Swords, but this is going to be a sign of a new beginning. So there may be something shady may be happening, but in the long term, it's going to lead to a new beginning. Here's the a natural leader comes out, the King of Wands. This could be several people, not necessarily just one person. It could be Governor Walz. It could be the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, coming in, being overcoming these challenges. There's a lot of strength in this leader, and coming from the outside, there can be some kind of contract work, like military contractors or something like that, that could be profiting off of using the military. See, here we go with the hopes and fears, the King of Pentacles. There might be some kind of thing, but then we have the government being involved in stopping this. So that possibly stopping this. So this may be a maybe. It's for cards, but I think they're possibly, if they do this sudden shift, it's going to be stopped. It's going to go to the courts very quickly in regards to that. So, if you're from Minnesota, stay safe, stay vigilant, you know, protest, but don't antagonize, because the biggest thing is when they want disruption to happen, because it gives them more of an excuse for them to use force. But Minnesotans are strong. All right, let's look at Eric Swalwell, because that's something that I just put down, and I want to take a look at his outlook as governor for California. If he will win in California and be the next governor, California, Eric Swalwell. Ooh. We also have Katie Porter in there and a couple other people, but Eric Swalwell has been gaining, so let's see if he will be the next governor. So right now, with California, they have an open primary system that um, so he has a lot of challenges to fight off. Excuse me. crossed by the Queen of Wands. Um, he- uh, he's very much very self confident in himself, but also there even though he comes out strong, sometimes those type of people can be very insecure about how they're presenting themselves, and I feel like that is the case with Eric Swalwell, that he might have imposter syndrome sometimes, and he struggles with that. We have the Page of Swords in the past. He very much so. He has found new ways of communicating his message um, through, especially through social media. So we have the Six of Swords at the basis. So he is transitioning to a new role. So he already foresees himself. And then a lot of choices that are going on right now with the Seven of Cups. But he has a very strong card with the Magician in the near future. So this may be indicating that he will be one of the two candidates that move ahead after the primary, because that, of course, comes before November. He is going to have a lot of opportunities of good fundraising with the Page of Pentacles. And there is going to be a lot of passion for his candidacy with the Knight of Wands, and that's going to be communicated. His hope is to give a different perspective in California from, because we've had two terms, not we, but I don't live in California, but in California they've had Governor Newsom for the last two terms. So he wants to give a newer perspective. Plus, he's much younger than Newsom, so this is a new generational perspective. He would be a millennial if he did win. But there's some disappointment in walking away from something, so that's not a good sign. There's ideas and excitement out for him. He will be taking a stand. I think there might be manipulation in regards to um, overseas manipulation. I'm not for sure who else will be in there, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know. The disappointment in the end, it says no, but we'll see who else goes with them. And things can change. We're still far ahead um, of the November election. There is, remember, there's free will that always changes little things that may change. That's why it's so important to be involved in elections. I'm not saying necessarily that you have to go out there and volunteer for campaigns, but if you want to, you feel passionate about someone, do that. But more importantly, participating in voting, getting other people to register to vote or to go out and vote, take people, carpool. Um, so let's take a look at Trump's health. Ooh, it's too many cards. I thought it was a link. Well, there we got a jumper there. Um, yeah, he's not doing well. He's the hangman. He's not. He should be resting, which he's not. It's been a hot minute. So right now he is taking medication. The seven of being crossed by the Seven of Cups. There's some kind of he's being overwhelmed. I think with his medicines right now, it's doing funky things going on. In the past, he had the King of Swords. There probably was some kind of operation he'd gone through, some kind of procedure. And the Five of Swords is on the basis. So he's been fighting with any of those medical people at all costs because He's because he thinks he knows best. And what this leading to? His downfall, his Ten of Swords. It's been disastrous. I think there's going to be action taken on his behalf. I think people are worried about his this action. Maybe that they're worried about uh, how much longer he can be in office. They are going to offer new medications with the Page of Pentacles and a lot of soul searching. This can be talking about taking action because of the soul searching with the Hermit card. And there's things that are happening overseas. I'm not for sure what that means. Um, but it also can mean preparation for the inevitable. I mean, he's not a young person, so this could be it. Um, and then he's going to feel more and more disconnected with reality and whatnot. Just he's not doing well with the Four of Cups, and you can see with the Devil card here. Um, but yeah, it's his health is declining, and finally you start hearing people actually pointing it out. I find it interesting that they, with Biden, and rightly so in some ways, that they pointed out his declining health, but Trump's is very visible in regards to it. I mean, he was kept on calling Greenland Iceland yesterday in Davos, let alone his slurring words, his draggy side of his face. Um, so, yeah. All right. Let's end this on a more positive note, shall we? Let's do a general message from Spirit in regards to what will best serve us going forward this week. Again, if you like my video, please like it. Also, please subscribe and comment on any questions you would like me to answer. Again, no personal questions, but I'm happy to do viewers' questions. Okay. General message from Spirit. Okay. Right now with the Seven of Cups, this is a time for much opportunity and choices on where we want our lives to go forward. And the devil is crossing this. This is when it's crossing it. Remember, we're talking about a reversal, like reading it as a reversal. So it's Spirit is telling us to release limiting beliefs, break the chains um, from these dark thoughts that we have, and it's easier said than done. I understand that, but Spirit's saying there's so many more choices. We have choices to make changes. We have choices to react a certain way, and that's what it's saying. Because in the recent past, we're going through what I talked about earlier. We're going through the ending of how things were, but that doesn't mean it's going to be dark forever. I mean, there's always light. Always comes at the end of darkness. Um, and it's to trust the process, trust ourselves, trust Spirit in regards to what we're going through right now with the High Priestess card, because there is the new cup that's overflowing with love and passion crowning this. There's love out there in the world. It's harder to find sometimes, but there is. There's many more of us that care and want the world to be a better place than the people that don't. And there is going to be, to watch out for these conflicts. Think about connecting to Spirit with this High Priestess card and connecting to the light and trying to avoid these conflicts with the Five of Wands. Come together and celebrate the wins that we have, the joy that's in our lives. Make sure we make memories on that, because there is, from the outside environment, the Three of Swords, there's a lot of suffering. So when we do have celebrations, celebrate. Make a moment, even if it's a small thing. Because right now our hope is to search our souls and to also to light the way through this darkness. We all have that inner light from Spirit, okay? And here's how we end with the Star card. With hope, calm will come to the end. Again, through the darkness, there's always this light shining. And we just have to continue on with our inner light till we find the light at the proverbial end of the tunnel. And with that, thank you all for stopping by this week. I'm sure to be back next week. Please subscribe. And until then, bye-bye.